What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Who You Got with
Melo.
and Rado. It's a sports podcast where we talk your favorite sports debates, sports highlights, and sports matchups. And if you guys are watching, please make sure you go ahead and click that subscribe button. If you guys are listening to us, thank you guys so much. You know, we're everywhere, wherever you get your podcasts. And you guys could also check us out on social media, wherever you want to. If it's on Facebook, if it's on TikTok, Instagram, we're everywhere. Also, if you guys want to check out our brand new website, whoyougot.com. That's where we get all our latest info. We got our podcast there, our videos, as well as the blogs that Melo's been doing a great job on,
Oh,
and all
yes.
other news that you guys can get for Who You Got podcast. And you guys can check out our Patreon where we got some merch for you guys as well as some really cool stuff where you guys can ask us questions, you guys can ask us topics. But this week, it's the start of the free agency, March 13th, and one of the biggest
hmm
storylines is happening as we speak. Melo, you want to take it away? Let them know what's going on in the world.
Yes, man. Obviously, NFL season really just felt like it just finished.
Yep.
We were just going over the Chiefs versus Eagles, talking about what's been going on in the playoffs. And honestly, I feel like we're still kind of watching the Chiefs
Yep.
celebrate
True.
the Super
True.
Bowl win. But they don't even get a chance to breathe right into the off season. We already got some juicy drama, and we're here to talk about it today. Today, we are going to talk about Lamar Jackson. Uh, Everyone woke up yesterday to the news that the Baltimore Ravens decided to franchise tag, non exclusive tag, their quarterback after failing for over a year to come to an actual long term deal with him. So pretty much franchise tagging them, the specific type of tag they use, and obviously the simple fact that they still have yet to come to a number that matches for both of them is definitely it raised a lot of big questions on what's going on between Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore
Raised
Ravens,
a lot of
and that's definitely
eyebrows.
what we're here to talk about. Oh yes. Um, so I say let's start from the beginning. Just kind of talk it out. I don't know if people remember, but after 2021, he got offered 5 year, 250 million with 133 million guaranteed, and pretty much turned that down.
Yep.
Since then, throughout the year last year, he made it very clear that he did not want to talk football or did not want to talk extension talk, only wanted to play football and didn't want that to be a concern. He'll focus on that in the off season. Pretty much without that extension being played out, he played out his 5th year of his rookie contract and pretty much decided to make a bet on himself. Baltimore Ravens, obviously, I can at least say, because a lot of people are questioning what they're doing, but I can definitely say they do want to keep their quarterback.
Hmm.
They just have a couple different hands that they can play. And at the end of the day, they're making a bet on themselves as well.
They
So
kind of
right
are.
now
They
you
kind
got
of are.
both of them. They are, and I'm gonna lay it out how they really are. 'Cause a lot of people really just think it's like just dumb not wanting to pay the money, but at the end of the day, they're playing their hand.
Hmm.
The same way Lamar played his hand last year, now they're playing their hand. So at this point, it really is Lamar Jackson's versus Baltimore, and
Hmm.
we got to figure out the way.
Basically, that's what this offseason is gonna be. Like a lot of people thought that it was gonna be a lot of other quarterbacks we're gonna talk about, but once this news came out, everyone
hmm
wants to talk about this, and it was surprising. I would say like the NFL world was surprised by it. They didn't expect them to put a franchise tender on him, where like they thought it was gonna be an exclusive tag where everyone thought that they were just going to keep him on the team without him being able to go around and look at the market as well. So that's interesting there as well. But tell us about like the Ravens side of it. Like why why are the Ravens like making a good deal on their part?
So they're basically playing their hand. At the end of the day, believe it or not, and some people have made questions about it. The Ravens have tried to draft to build a team that is set for Lamar's talents. Unfortunately, they get hit with a lot of injuries.
Yeah, for sure.
and they do got a contending team. At the end of the day, they do got a team that if everyone's healthy, they're gonna go to the playoffs. They're gonna make some noise.
Hmm.
How far they go, that's always a question.
Right.
Now, the reason why I say they are playing their hand and not technically just trying to get rid of their quarterback, this tag allows Lamar to actually see what teams are actually willing to offer.
Right.
Now he's demanding a certain amount of money, and I've known we made a big deal about Watson's contract, Russell
Exactly.
Wilson's contract, how Derek Carr just got a decent contract. So I get we question all this money being thrown at quarterback, but right now I think that the Ravens are trying to show Lamar that the grass isn't always greener on the other side. So with this tag, it allows someone us to actually throw an offer. Granted, it's got to be matched with a couple decent picks.
Two first round picks. It's a
Definitely.
it's a big price, but then again, so is the contract. So,
Exactly. So no one
but
no one
then
picks him up. No one offers him that much. Now it begins to question, what does Lamar do? The ball's back in his court.
true. But then the Ravens could always just match whatever offer anyone else wants to match him.
At the end
But
of the day.
but here's my thing though. Like with this whole thing, him even playing his 5th year option, just on his 5th year option, not getting the deal done. I got to give this man a lot of credit. I know he wasn't able to finish the season, and he did get injured this season. It's a big risk playing on your 5th year option. A lot of people in the NFL world know this, but Lamar Jackson doesn't have an agent. He is his own agent. So some people are questioning whether this is really hurting him in the end or if he's making the right decision. Now, you pointed out that Deshaun Watson was the guy that everyone was looking at, and that was the real thing about this is Jimmy Haslam. He loved Deshaun Watson so much, the owner of the Browns. He loved him so much that he gave him a fully guaranteed contract, and that was really the issue right now. What Lamar wants is that fully guaranteed contract from the Ravens. He doesn't want what they offered him. They offered him, like you said, 250 with 133 guaranteed, which is very similar to that Russell Wilson contract. It's
Hmm.
around that 68, 69% overall guaranteed. But he wants that fully guaranteed contract just like Deshaun Watson does. Now, do I think that Steve Buscemi, and the Ravens are gonna give him that type of contract? Man, I don't know if they want to really set a precedent now. You saw that one guy did it. Once one guy does it, it's anomaly. But once a few guys do it, you get the second quarterback. The third and fourth are not going to want unguaranteed contracts after that. So the Ravens, they're really trying to put their foot in the sand right now. It's like, no, we're not going to give you a fully guaranteed contract.
No, and for them, I think it really comes down to more than that. Like I said, any team he goes to is not going to be as prepared to be the team built for him more than the Baltimore Ravens. The
Hmm.
only team I could honestly think of that will be close is the New York
I was just
Jets.
going to say that too. That's funny. I was literally just going to
The
say,
New
I
York
think that
Jets
they're
with the defense they have, they honestly will be the perfect fit.
exactly
But even then,
good running
it
game.
would still take a different type of everything would have to switch up for everybody for that to work. So that would still be a little bit different just for the fact that coming back to Baltimore, everything would be the same. You still got to put Baltimore, but at the end of the day, the Jets are the only one that have the team. So a lot of teams aren't gonna not only give up that money but give up those picks,
Good
because
point.
if
Good
he's
point.
not the one piece that wins you now or wins you a championship now, is it worth it?
I don't
And
know.
now,
I think it is because the GM of the Jets literally just said we are a quarterback away from winning a Super Bowl. That's what he said. So I think that a proven guy. I mean, yes, you can say Lamar Jackson's had his injuries. Even throughout his college career into his NFL career, he had 2 ACL surgeries. So that's a big risk you're taking on a guy. But a proven guy that has gone to the playoffs 4 out of the 5 years he's been in the league and a Super Bowl MVP. I would think that there should be some buzz in the league around for that type of talent.
See, I don't think there is, and that's why I think the Ravens playing their hand. 'Cause I think that they think that as well. Uh, he had what the MVP season, but you got to realize that season alone, still he won 13 and 2.
13-3. Yeah.
Yeah. No, well he didn't.
Oh, he
That's right.
didn't.
He didn't start that one game.
Okay, yeah.
No, there was
He
one
didn't
game he
start.
didn't play. Yeah, it was 13 and 2. Yeah,
Okay, yeah, yeah.
yeah. Threw for 3,100 yards, completion rate of 66%, 36 touchdowns, 3 interceptions.
Right. I mean,
That was a great
you do
year.
got to add the rushing stats in there too, though.
100%, and those rushing stats are 1,200 yards, 7 touchdowns.
That's a huge number right there, and that's a big reason why he was MVP for sure. Is those rushing stats?
A hundred
He
percent.
got the record that year
Uh,
for most rushing yards in a year before Justin Field just beat him this year. But I mean, like,
but
you don't think that type of talent is worthy of getting? I mean, yes, I understand what he wants is a fully guaranteed contract, but you don't think that he's worthy of getting teams looking at him as a top three type of salary guy?
oh no, he's definitely a franchise quarterback,
Okay.
but it's the amount
Yeah.
that it's
Okay. So
worth.
that's a
Like
question.
2019 MVP season, had a great campaign, but he hasn't come close to those level or that level of play in 2 years. Uh, both years after that, you got injury problems. And at the end of the day, I don't know if you remember, but we actually had a conversation about this in the beginning of the NFL season on when he decided to decline that extension. We had an episode on did Lamar Jackson make the right move betting on
Yeah,
himself?
I remember that.
And my opinion was no.
Yeah, I remember that. And mine was yes, actually.
Yeah, because I've been saying the level of running ability. We understand what he brings to the table. He's one of the best multidimensional players we've ever seen. But that level of running ability with those injuries that he's having in his legs is going to continuously drop. I'm not going to say and act like he's a running back, but at the end of the day, running backs' career are extensively short. Running quarterbacks' career are usually way shorter than that. So you add to the fact that he's missing multiple time because of injuries, his running ability is going to start to lower down a little bit. The problem with that is his passing ability is already started off at average.
Mm.
Like he literally averaged what is it? That MVP season was a great year, but the man was still getting 200 passing yards a game that year,
I get
and
that,
his
but
average is 100 is about like 220. Like he doesn't consistently average more than 250 passing yards a game, and we've seen what happened in the playoff. For 4 different appearances, he's only won one game. Is because for all 4 of those games, we've seen teams stuff that box, force Lamar to throw the ball, and find out that the Baltimore Ravens can't succeed when they have to
well,
pass.
that's definitely true. And this is the reason why I disagree with your earlier point where you said that like they built the team around Lamar Jackson, because I really don't agree with that. I really believe that they built the team around the defense, and they always have. They always have been. And Baltimore has never been a team to really spend money to bring free agents in. They never have been, and they never brought in a big free agent throughout Lamar Jackson's tenure while he's been there. Mark Ingram was like the only free agent they brought in, and he was a backup running back at that. Uh, yes, they did have a lot of injuries, which that hurts any team, and especially their running back getting injured, J.K. Dobbins getting injured 2 years in a row. That 100% hurts him. But I kind of disagree that they were building a team around Lamar. They were always giving him some washed up receivers like Sammy Watkins.
I
Like
mean,
I mean
he had Brown for a while.
he was good for 1 year. Hollywood Brown was good for 1 year, and he was still a young receiver. He was in his second year when he was good. So
As I was saying, they tried to draft because they can't get nobody to go there.
that's
So they
that's because they don't
tried. They
spend
have
money.
tried to draft, and at the end of the day, when you got a quarterback action for 250 guaranteed, how are they gonna get talent around him? So they do what they can.
So
Get tight ends, get
yeah,
linemen, build the defense. Try to draft receivers to build the talent. Like they have tried. At the end of the day,
but
the Jets did exactly the same
the
thing.
offensive
Got
line.
one decent receiver, no line, a great
Exactly.
defense, and they're one quarterback away. That's what the Baltimore Ravens
Yeah,
already
but
are.
the offensive line has always been a problem for them. Always. Past 5 years has always been an issue with them. And Lamar even like said that during the one time that they got to the playoffs, and and he didn't start the full game, and RG3 had to finish for him when he got injured. And during the playoff game, he was even like complaining about the line that whole year. He's
Oh no, the first year in the playoffs, he got sacked 7 times in one
That
game.
was the year. Yeah.
Second year, he got sacked
It
four
was, I
times.
think it was the second year actually. Yeah, yeah, it was the second year. But I mean, I kind of see what you're saying, that they don't want to give him a fully guaranteed contract. But the reason why I said that Lamar Jackson made a good decision last year is because, I mean, if he would have took the contract last year, yeah, he would have had that 133. But I mean, you see what guys are getting now. Like Kyler Murray's getting more than Deshaun Watson. Yeah, it's not guaranteed, but Kyler Murray's over that, like he's at 46 million average, and Russell Wilson's at 245 million at 49 million average. Aaron Rodgers getting 50 million a year. So I mean, I don't see why a guy like Lamar Jackson, who's an MVP in his fifth year, has been to the playoffs so many times with a team that has been, I would just say, like more defensive driven, to be honest. They've never been offensive focused, never have been in his 5 year career. I think that he deserves guys in the NFL to look at him. And I know that something's going on, because right when the Ravens announced that they're giving them that franchise tag, 5 teams came out on Twitter, and I guess like all these reporters were asking him this question: are you interested in Lamar Jackson now that he's got a non-exclusive franchise tag? And 5 teams came out and said no. The Ravens, Miami, Atlanta, Carolina Panthers, and I think another team from the NFC South said that as well. But I think Tampa Bay, actually. Yeah, Tampa Bay said that as well. So it's just insane that like within
And that's
15
why I said
minutes.
they're because they and that's the thing. Obviously, it's not like people don't want Lamar, but the Ravens are basically showing Lamar like one. I'll be honest, and it really is Watson's fault, because that
Yeah.
fully
Yeah.
guaranteed makes
But
no
is it his
sense
fault
after
though?
what he went
Is it
through.
his fault?
No, it's the team's fault. But they like after what he went through, there's no way that he should have been the first one to get a fully guaranteed contract. So the fact that he set the
I agree.
precedent makes it so much worse, because everyone's like, "You're wild." That man was out for a year and was about to be suspended for a whole nother year, and they still gave him fully guaranteed. Every quarterback, including Lamar, is thinking, "Give me my money."
Exactly.
But at the end of the
Exactly.
day, every team can't give you their money. They're both making business decisions. At the end of the day, I don't think the Baltimore Ravens' decision was screw Lamar, like you're out of here. I think it was, listen, hey, let's see what someone else has to offer. No one's gonna offer a big enough deal to where they trade away the damn house. I don't see that coming. And anyone that offers a good enough deal, Ravens will match it.
So
And at that point, that's what they have.
so here's the thing: like we already know what the Ravens have offered Lamar and what he already declined. So we know that he's gonna get something above that on the open market. It's gonna be above that.
Yeah, and
And the
they're
only thing he's looking at, I know that he's looking at guaranteed money. He doesn't care about that total value of the salary. He wants that guaranteed. He literally wants 231 million guaranteed. Deshaun Watson got 230, and he wants that 231. I kind of tend to agree with you, where I don't think the NFL, they don't want to give it to him. I do kind of believe it's a little bit of collusion. It might not be, what we see as collusion, like all the NFL owners came around and they talked to each other, but I think that they're all thinking it. They don't want to give another quarterback. Like I said, like one quarterback is an anomaly, but two starts a precedent, and then the next one, like you said, and the next one, and the next one, they're all gonna want fully guaranteed contracts. And Herman Edwards, um, he was a player and a coach in the NFL since the 70s, and he even said that in the 70s the players were talking about fully guaranteed contracts and wanted those fully guaranteed, but the owners never wanted to give the NFL players fully guaranteed
well,
contracts.
that's the thing. It's not even about, like, I promise you right now, if Patrick Mahomes went to the Chiefs and say, "Yo, I want to restructure and I want mine fully guaranteed," or if his year was up and he won the Super Bowl and new contract coming up and we talking and he says, "I want mine fully guaranteed," give that man fully guaranteed. I'm not saying here saying I'm against any quarterback
So you
getting
think
fully
only certain
guaranteed.
quarterback deserve it?
100%. Like, you had
That
an MVP season, haven't passed over 3,000 yards since then. Haven't got to 1,000 rushing yards since then. Consistently injured and failed both 3 years in a row in the playoffs. I'm not giving you fully guaranteed money.
and
I'm
that's
sorry.
that's where we have to like that's where we would have to talk about the actual contract details, because I
They
kind of
turned
agree
down
with you there.
133 guaranteed.
That's
That
what
was the
they.
most. That
That
was
was the
the
most
highest they were
recent
willing to
offer.
go
So
at 133
So
guaranteed,
what
and
I'm
he turned
thinking
that
is
down.
his total value is going to have to go down, and they're going to have to bring down like a year on that contract if he wants a higher guarantee. Instead of getting a 5-year deal, kind of like Russell Wilson got with the Broncos, he's going to have to go for a 4-year deal. He's going to have to get 4 years and try to settle it that way. And you know, I mean, there's precedent though, because guys on the open market, Derek Carr just got paid $40 million a year. Daniel Jones is getting paid $40 million a year, and my man Lamar Jackson is getting paid 32 on the franchise tag. So you're telling me that he is now worth more than these two guys, and guys are not like there's teams that are gonna pay him more than that. I think.
No, and that's the thing. That's why I really believe that that exclusive or non-exclusive tag was to specifically allow the Ravens to somehow still end up with him.
So you think either way, whatever he gets on the open market, the Ravens are like they're most likely gonna bring
They're
him
gonna
back.
match it because it's gonna be less than what he wanted.
So let's talk about that. Let's talk
Because
about
he got three. Yeah, he got three
yeah.
options.
I was gonna
Negotiate
say talk about his
a
option.
more expensive deal, including the guarantee money that he want with the Ravens. Negotiate a deal with the team, which then the Ravens can match or exchange for two first round picks, or negotiate a deal with the team, which the Ravens can match and then
Right,
trade.
sign and trade.
Um, exactly.
Yeah.
So,
So
and at this
most
point, it looked like the first one's really not happening.
the first one is like
Them
95% not
coming to a
happening.
deal.
That
Yeah, it's not
that
happening.
looks like it's definitely not happening. I think that the relationship is so messed up with the Ravens right now. I really think it's so messed up. I think this whole past year has been messed up. I think that Lamar wanted his contract last year, and yeah, you know what? He didn't want the 133. What I was hearing from other sources was that he was looking at 180 fully guaranteed with the $250 million contract is what he wanted, but the Ravens didn't accept that. Obviously, they were they were $50 million away from each other, so they obviously couldn't get anything done. So they were like, all right, go look in the open market, see if anyone else is willing to pay you that, and if they are, then maybe we'll pay you, maybe we will, or maybe we'll decide to get those first round picks depending on who it is. Maybe it's a team like, I don't know, just putting it out there, Chicago, Miami, like guys that have like picks in the early first round, and maybe the Ravens want to pick up a quarterback right away. You never know. So if that's the case, then you know that most likely that they could let him go for something like a $250
And
million
that's why
contract.
if they feel it's worth it, that's to say they want to end up with him.
Hmm.
But if they're not going to end up with him, you're going to have to pay them.
Because the sign and trade is interesting too, though. The sign and trade is very interesting because if you do like
Because they can get more than two first rounders.
yeah, I was gonna say, but that's the only way you do that is if if he gets a bigger, fully guaranteed contract. That's the only way that happens. If he gets like 200 million fully guaranteed, then he gets traded for a couple picks and then a player or two. Then that's the best deal for the Ravens, obviously. Now,
No.
here's the thing though, like
Yeah.
with Lamar, do you think he wants to go back to the Ravens at this point?
So that's the thing. I don't even think it's really that personal. Because especially if you say
Really?
Lamar is his own agent, like, bro, he's trying to get his, they're trying to get theirs. They had 5 years of playoff contention. Um, really fizzed out. Like I said, when they get to the playoffs, like teams really just shut them down. But even besides that, like it's not like they were just horrible together. Like I think they were 37-12
Oh.
when Lamar was playing, so they were a contending team. At the end of the day, like they just not trying to give him his guarantee. So if he find a way to land somewhere where they can agree on a contract, or if he decides he wants a contract with another team and they match it, then I don't see him saying "screw y'all, I'm leaving," unless. Like especially if what if it's not the Jets? What if it's a team that really ain't that set up? Like if at the end of the day, if you're gonna get the same money, you might as well stay with the Ravens.
Yeah, but I don't think it's the same money though. I think we're talking like
No, I'm talking about if and that's the thing. That's what I'm saying. Like if he signs with if another team offers a contract and he know that's where he's gonna fall on,
right.
he might as well take it from the Ravens.
So,
Because at the end of the day, like no other team is
but that's
gonna
the
be
thing.
that set
It's
up
not up
unless
to
it's the
him. It's up
Jets.
to the Ravens though. It's all up to the
And no,
Ravens.
and I think the Ravens aren't doing all this to ship him off. That's what I'm
Mm.
saying. So at the end of the day, I don't think the Ravens want to get rid of him. So it's up to Lamar on whether or not that relationship
Okay, so you
is
think
good or not.
in their
And I'm
eyes,
thinking he should think it as a business
right?
decision.
So you think in their eyes, they think that it's a really good relationship with him still. In his eyes, he should think that it's just business, no personal.
Well, I think they both should think it's business. 'Cause at the end of the day, the Ravens is a business. He
100%. You're
probably has a
right
good
there.
relationship with certain coaches and all that. But at the end of the day, the owner is going to do what's best for the
That's
business.
true.
And I still think on his end, being his own agent, he probably loves the Raven organization. He loves his teammates, love the fans, but he still wants to get what he's worth.
Yeah, and that's
So I don't think neither one of these are personal. So the relationship might not be the good.
mm,
Is because they haven't. It's been over a year where they haven't been able to
that's
find. Uh,
that's exactly where I
that's what like that's what
that's what
it
I was gonna
is. Like
say because
they don't hate
that's
each
why I
other.
disagree with
It,
with what you're saying is like because I do think it's personal. I think that this whole year has been personal. I think for him being such a young MVP, for him having the stats that he's had, and he has gotten better playing in the pocket. I mean, even this year you saw it, he definitely played better in the pocket. He's taken steps, but his offensive line just hasn't been there. I just think that like if you look at the Baltimore Ravens as a whole, like they've never paid free agents or they've never paid guys top dollar. Like if you look at the history of the top guys being like what their money is, it's never been from the Ravens. Even if you look at guys like Ray Lewis when he was one of the top linebackers, he was never getting paid number one linebacker money. It was always Urlacher getting paid above him because the Ravens, we look at him as like a bigger market team because they're flashy right now with Lamar Jackson, but that's just because they got Lamar Jackson and they did win a Super Bowl with John Harbaugh, but or back in 2014, I believe it was with Fluco, as I
yeah,
call him.
yeah, yeah.
But yeah, 2014, and so yeah, so they have they have their history with Ray Lewis and then also the '98 Super Bowl as well when they were there. I'm sorry, 2000 Super Bowl. Excuse me, 2000 Super Bowl. They were there against the Giants. But that history, it only has one good quarterback to talk about, and that quarterback is Lamar Jackson. Like you can't say that you could say already in his fifth year, he is better than any quarterback in the history of the Ravens. So for a guy that's been one of the youngest MVPs, they should have been offered him a contract similar to what Russell Wilson got with the 180 fully guaranteed, something like that. That's what they should have offered him, not the 133 guaranteed where, if he gets injured, he's only getting paid like 20 million a year. Like, and that's what would have happened this year if he would have taken that. Luckily, he did stay on his fifth year option, and I mean, I think that it's a good thing for him because now he's going to get more guaranteed than he would have gotten last year. Because we know that he wasn't going to get that type of contract that Watson got last year, but I think that he wants to set a precedent for the rest of the guys in the league, and that's why I love what Lamar Jackson is doing. I'm just very proud of him, and for him sticking to his guns, not getting an agent, and actually telling them, like, look, I want that fully guaranteed contract.
Well, that's the thing. Like for me, it's just like the numbers just don't make sense. Like you got to think about it. 2019, second year in MVP season. 2020,
I
a
get
little
it.
bit of a fall off. But at the end of the day, the Ravens didn't get worse.
Yeah.
They probably didn't. I think AJ Brown was his first year. He's starting to get a little start. Like a little bit of a fall off, but still 11-4, 2,700 yards, 1,000 yards rushing.
That's a rookie. That's rookie
Um,
numbers. Like, I mean,
no, that's his third
oh, I'm
year.
sorry. Yeah, okay, yeah. Because the
Yeah,
second
this
year
is
was
after his MVP
1,200, and
season.
then
The
the
second
30 was.
year, yeah,
Sorry,
second
the
year
first year
was
he had 900 rushing yards,
3,100.
right? He was almost at that 100. He was almost at that 1,000 yard mark.
No, he only had 700
Oh,
the
was
first
it?
year.
All right, yeah, yeah,
So I was
yeah.
gonna say, so the first year he had 700
Right,
rushing,
yeah.
1,200 passing, but he only played seven
Right,
games.
that's what it was. Yeah, 7 games.
MVP season, 3,100 yards, 36 touchdowns, 1,200 rushing, seven rushing touchdowns. Next year, AJ Brown's there, but the team isn't. He just falls off a little bit, but it doesn't look too bad. They still go 11-4, 2,700 yards, 26 touchdowns, nine interceptions, with 1,000 yards rushing. So at that point, now we're coming up to his fourth year.
Mm-hmm.
Injured for a few games, they go 7-5. The games he play, 7-5 in the games he play.
Right.
He throws for 2,800 yards, and in those 12 games, he throws for 16 touchdowns and 13 picks. That's the year He decides to fight for his life. That year fell off, and I think that year he only had 767
But
yards
you do
rushing with only
remember
2 touchdowns.
you do
So,
remember
like I
what
said, he got
happened the
injured.
first game of the year though. Like J.K. Dobbins, he went out of the first game of the year. Their running back literally like went out and they had nobody.
So that's what I'm saying. So at that point, now you got to rely on that MVP quarterback.
He still won 7-5. He still won 7-5.
16 touchdown, 13 picks.
I
You had
get
a
that.
36 touchdown season, a 26 touchdown season. Like
But we
what's like,
we
and I
talking about a
understand like,
one-dimensional team at that point.
but at that point they also got AJ Brown, and we're starting. This is when we're like, oh
Hollywood
snap,
Brown,
AJ Brown,
Hollywood
or
Brown,
not? Yes, I'm sorry, Hollywood.
but
I keep saying AJ.
Hollywood
But at
Brown
this
was
point,
also injured that year actually.
but
Hollywood
he
Brown,
wasn't injured for the full year.
no, he was injured like week 5, something like that. But still, yeah,
So that's what
like
I'm saying.
that year
At
was
the
a
end of the
wash. And
day, there's a lot of circumstances, but that's the year in the offseason he decides and he sees Watson get his fully guaranteed
true.
that he decides we're not staying at 133. Then, unfortunately for him, he gets injured again in 2022, only puts up 2,200 yards, 17 touchdowns. And it's like, I get that you want your money, but you're like the passing to me hasn't improved. His rushing just by pure injury is going to go down. Just by pure lifeline, like he's a running back's only lasts for so long. So it's like if you don't improve how you are staying in the pocket, like how can you sit here and demand that money? And that's the thing. Like I get both sides, but at the end of the day, I do not sit here and fault the Baltimore Ravens for not giving him that fully guaranteed contract. Like I said, if Pat Mahomes was the one asking for that money right now, I would have no problem.
Yeah,
But
and
my
you know
man,
what that
your ankle injuries haven't even kept you like. And that's the thing, you could blame the line, you could blame this, but then why would they give you all that money to not be able to fix up a line? You know what I'm saying? Like
okay,
you gotta.
that I definitely get. That I definitely get. But here's the thing. Like the way that they're treating him, they're trying to pay him what like in between Dak Prescott and Daniel Jones. That's what they're trying to pay him. They're not trying to
That
pay him
133
Patrick
would have
Mahomes.
made him second of all time behind, no, not all time, but second behind
The
Watson.
total value, the total value.
Oh,
But I'm talking about the guaranteed money. The guaranteed money would have put him in between Daniel Jones and Dak Prescott. You know, so Daniels is at 88 million. Dak Prescott is at 140 million guaranteed. So those are two guys that you can really look at right now. Derek Carr got like 70 million guaranteed. So those are really the two guys. And also, I'm sorry, Josh Allen. Josh Allen as well. But he's a little bit higher than him. He's at
with that extension.
170. Yeah, he's at 170 guaranteed. But still, like the other top guys that got the contracts, that are higher guaranteed are the top guys. Rodgers, you would think Mahomes, which is one of them. But then there's Russell, Murray, and Watson. So you tell me the Lamar is not better than those three guys?
He is, but just because those teams made bad business decisions don't mean that every other team now has to follow suit. And that's my whole point. There ain't no way Watson should have got that money. Ain't no way. And Wilson don't even look that bad when you look at his resume. It just, and we have to have a whole conversation about this, but he fooled the goddamn world for a couple years into just a whole nother dimension. But there are quarterbacks who deserve that money, and there aren't quarterbacks. But the last couple years, we've been seeing teams get desperate, throw the money at quarterbacks, and so like now each side are starting to get further apart on what they want. And so I'm saying, like, I get it for both sides, but
that's why I
just
think the
because they
relationship's
paid all
strained.
that money, and you might be right on that. Yeah, you might be right.
I think that, to be honest, like I think that they are like, if they would have wanted to keep him, they would have just kept him on that franchise tag. Plus, the franchise tag would have been a little bit less than the exclusive. Like it would have been like 0.8 million less. So they would only pay him 32 million exactly. And they would have kept him on the team this year. It would have been just a franchise tag, and he would have had to play under the franchise tag, or he would have sat out and sat out of training camp and maybe even like games until he got a contract. But we don't know that. But if they really would have wanted to keep him, I think that's what they would have done. I think what they wanted to do is they want to let him test the waters, and they're hoping that a team doesn't give him more than like 150 fully guaranteed with that $250 million contract. That's what they're hoping.
Well, that's the thing. I think that they're doing this like that because they know they're not giving him what he wants. But at the end of the day, if a team come close to second, and then they know that's what they have to give him to keep him because there ain't that's the best he can get. And that's why I said like they're playing their hand. And at the end of the day, I think if a team makes a good enough offer, they're just gonna end up keeping him.
Man,
They're gonna I think 100% that they're gonna allow him to, or not just allow him, but pretty much sign a more expensive deal with another team and then match and then keep him.
I'll be honest, man. I'll be so on. I think it's gonna be so weird if he's on the Ravens again. If we ever see him in a Ravens jersey, I think it's gonna be weird. I think it. I think that the relationship is strained. I think that, to be honest, the relationship is done. And I think that even if another team offers them something, or offers Lamar something, and the Ravens say, "All right, you know what? We're gonna match that offer, but we're gonna match it and we're gonna trade you to that team again. We're just gonna take more picks from them instead of 2 first rounders. We're gonna take 4 first rounders. You know, if you want that much guaranteed." I'll be honest. I really think the relationship is strained. I don't think Lamar wants to play in Baltimore anymore. Obviously, he wanted to go home, play in Miami, but Miami said that they don't want him. And Carolina and Atlanta, the first thing that
A
came out
lot
of
of
their
teams
mouths,
don't need
like,
him.
but before,
Well,
like,
no, they need him, but
I'm
they don't want to pay for that.
yeah, but then again, they got a quarterback out there too who's been getting injured like just as much, and he's definitely not as good as Lamar. And they don't want to pay him because they're gonna have to pay him next year anyways, and Tua Tagovailoa. But then again, like you got guys like Carolina and Atlanta that need quarterbacks, and why are you gonna come out and say before free agency even starts, you're not even gonna look at this guy? He's a he's a MVP in the league, regular season MVP, and you're not gonna even take a look at this guy as a free agent? Like, come on now. Like that seems like there's some collusion going on in the NFL. Teams are talking to each other. They're probably telling each other, like, this is what's going on. We're
Not
not gonna
even
do
because
it.
if because last year if Watson agents asked the other 31 teams for 250 guaranteed, they all would have told him no.
That
I
I'll
don't
agree
care who
with.
the
I agree with
quarterback
you there
is.
because I don't think.
And now Lamar Jackson, who's been injured for 2 years, is now demanding a price tag that there's teams that right away is like, no, no, I'm not paying that.
And no, I get that,
That's gonna
and maybe that fully guaranteed. I don't think he's even gonna get that because I really believe the NFL doesn't want to set that precedent. So I kind of agree with you there. I don't think that any team is gonna give him that. But what about like I was saying, like he was at 180 is what he wanted the Ravens to give him. They said no. They offered him 130. Do you think that he's ever gonna get something like 180 fully guaranteed from any team?
I mean, Rodgers at 150. Um,
Yeah, but that was a 3-year deal. He's looking for a 5-year deal.
right.
Lamar.
That's what I'm saying. I really see 150 being the highest some team will go with 5 years.
Because
Maybe
Rodgers is the highest
160.
paid quarterback in the NFL. He's getting paid $50 million a year.
Technically, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
he's
And
a
as I was
3-year
saying
quarterback.
I was saying that 150 to 160 is going to be hard for a team to have to offer that guarantee,
So you think it's
plus
a
two
three-year
picks.
a 3-year deal that a team's going to offer, possibly? Because
They're going. They have
you
to.
know what, that's
No
actually
one's gonna. That's what I'm saying. No one's gonna keep trying to give him that money for 5 years with the injuries. That's the
damn. You know
problem.
what? So if a team does offer him that, then he probably did make
He
a
might have no
mistake.
choice but to take it.
He made a
Yeah.
mistake, but I believe he's going to get that 5-year. He'll get that 5-year, like close to 240, but not the guarantee that I was talking about. Probably something like 170 is what I'm thinking.
And that's the thing. It's not even personal to me. I play Madden franchise too much. I know when a bad business decision is staring at me, man.
I get it, but man, listen,
That
like,
man is injury
so
prone,
so
man.
imagine this. So listen to this. Imagine if Lamar Jackson was on the Buffalo Bills. I mean, the way that their team is set up, I think that they have a great offensive line. They have a type of offense that's similar to Lamar
They be
Jackson's.
exactly where they're at right
They
now.
are, but they're very similar to Lamar Jackson because that's Josh Allen definitely does those, like, uh,
No, they would
handoffs.
be where now. They actually be less off because Josh Allen's a way better passer and he can still run. At the end of the day, what they're missing is a legit running back to take the pressure off Josh Allen. They ain't no way in hell that Lamar Jackson is a good enough passer to take the pressure off himself.
Man,
if you have no running
so you
game.
just don't trust Lamar like
Not at
as a
all.
franchise
At a
quarterback,
passer.
a franchise passer. Yeah. Wow.
It's the
See,
passing. Like my man's
I
literally
do,
averaged
man.
250 his whole career. Like his MVP season was an MVP season because of his rushing. Now you're adding ankle injury after ankle injury, and the rushing has no choice but to go down, and your passing has not improved. Why are we paying you all this money?
Because he's an MVP. He's shown that he can win.
Former.
He's shown.
He's a former. He showed that he could win.
I get that, but I mean, you got guys getting paid 40 million a year. Yeah, it's not guaranteed like we were talking about, but Daniel Jones just got paid 4 years, 40 million.
Hey,
Derek Carr,
let the
150.
Patriots and let the where did Derek Carr go
Giants and
again?
the Saints for Derek Carr and
Saints, that's
the
right.
Giants like
Oh,
those.
Jones, you did say Jones, that's
Yeah,
right.
but Jones
Yeah,
was
let the
a
Giants
stupid deal by
let's
Jones.
say let them make their decisions. Like you can't
Yeah,
like we can't expect Baltimore to give injury ridden quarterback who's hasn't showed that type of play because we're not gonna act like he had everything he needed in his MVP season. He didn't either, but he
he
showed
did.
out.
Yeah, he was the main focus of that offense. And I'll be
Yeah,
honest,
he
man.
showed out. But then remember, he got right to the playoffs and
Yeah, he did.
got scraped.
He did. He had terrible passing numbers there, and he definitely
They used to
got
go for like
sacked a bunch.
150 yards or
He
something.
did, yeah. It was like
Uh,
140 actually, but yeah, terrible.
no,
But
literally, it was yeah.
the second time of him, the first time he won a game in the playoffs, he did have over 200 yards, and that was his issue. Remember, like his first two playoff games, he didn't have over 200 yards in each game, and finally he was able to. And I'll be honest, I do believe that he's getting better as a passer. The issue with the Ravens has always been like they need stuff around him, and they've always had those injury problems. Especially J.K. Dobbins, that's been a huge injury for them. Their number one running back 2 years in a row getting injured, that doesn't help your team at all, because now you become one sided. Lamar has to do most things on his own, and then when he starts running more than the running back, he was getting this year he was getting like 20 rushes a game, and that's why he got injured. So if they actually had a good running back that wasn't getting injured, this team could have been a lot better. I don't believe that the Ravens were really focused towards the offense. They were always focused towards the defense. Like, yeah, they drafted good, but they never spent money for good offensive players, even good offensive linemen. But, I mean, let's go over the question here. Like, who do you think is the problem here? Do you think which side do you think has to step back and be like, all right, we're gonna concede. We're gonna concede. Who do you think has to concede in this situation? Lamar, I'm thinking.
I yeah,
Yeah.
the one who's averaging 200 passing yards and one touchdown a game for the last 2 years. That's the one I'm gonna have to. Actually, let me look at these stats. Let's make it 1.5 touchdowns a game and make it the last 3 years.
But you gotta count rushing as well, though. Come on now. You gotta count that. If you count rushing touchdowns throughout that, come on now.
No,
That
no,
adds
no.
a whole nother dimension.
So he's not even he's averaging the 2020 year he came off his MVP season. He got 7 touchdowns. The last 2 years he got 5 combined.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. He's not as effective as a rusher, which I don't expect him to be.
Hmm.
But what I do expect is that like at the end of the day, I'm not impressed by all that rushing if you can't not throw. You're a quarterback. We could just throw a freaking running back in the backfield. We expect you to just run. I love having the multi-dimension aspect of being able to run. I love being a prolific runner, and he's one of the best runners we ever seen. But at the end of the day, no one's scared of Justin Fields and how many damn yards he's running because he can't throw the damn ball.
But I mean, that's the hope is they get better as passers. That's definitely the hope. But the question is like, do you think we can remember like a top wide receiver the Ravens have had in the past 5 years? Like, can you remember like a top? Because I'll be honest, I really can't name a top wide receiver they've had. And Hollywood Brown, he
No,
was good for a year, but he wasn't a top wide receiver. He had over 1,000 yards one year, but he was never a top wide receiver. The Ravens, they had Rashad Bateman for that 1 year, and he got close to 1,000 yards, but they've never had a number one receiver that Lamar Jackson could really throw to, and that's been their problem. Yeah, they had Mark Andrews as their tight end, but never a number one wide receiver. in the past 5 years, and I think that's a huge problem. Like this is literally why the Bills brought in Diggs, is because if you remember, Josh Allen's first few years, people were asking, "Oh, can he actually throw?" Because he's not throwing over 4,000 yards. He's at like 3,000 yards throwing, and they brought in a number one wide receiver, and it changed everything up. I don't know.
So I can understand that plays a part, but I'll be honest and I watch the games, not every game, but I can't sit here and act like him not having number one and top notch receiver is the issue when I watch how he just missed receivers. I understand that then there's a lot of plays that could be all right. The receiver, if it was a better receiver, might be a little bit more open, a little bit better release, obviously better hands. Like I get it, and I think at one point, and it might have been Hollywood, but they was talking about one of his top receivers just seemed to drop a lot, and I think that was the year after his MVP season.
Yeah,
So I think it was Hollywood. So
it
I
was.
I, I, I see that,
It was.
and I understand that, but also I still I'll never just
And I'll be honest, they
I
made
watch him.
they made some mistakes on those picks too. They picked up, like, Hollywood Brown was a decent pick for a year, but like I said, he's been off the other 3 years that he's been in the league. The other pick that they had, which was a number one, a first round pick, was Devin Duvernay, and he didn't pan out at all. He was one of their worst picks that they've
No,
made
and that's the
as well.
thing. They
So,
tried to draft receiving talent
and they're bad at it.
for
They're always
Lamar,
good at
and that's
drafting
the
defense. They're always good
yeah
at
they
drafting
tried,
defense.
and then they tried to bring in running back to help. They actually had like four decent running backs for the last couple of years, all injury prone. And that's the thing. Like I was saying, and they try to pick up linemen.
Well,
Just no
no,
one
linemen,
wants to come to Baltimore.
they barely try to pick up linemen. I'll be honest. It's like Lamar's always had, like, and that line has always been bottom half of the league. He's always had sack problems, and not just outside the pocket sack problems, inside the pocket sacks. If you look at his numbers, he's always had, especially his first 3 years in the league, they were terrible at that. I mean, even this year they were bad, but they did get better. You know, the previous year when he was 7-5 as a starter, but you know, just this year they were bad. That's one huge reason why he was injured. And I'll be honest, like they never focus on that part of the line. Like that's why, like, he has to. If you remember early in his career, they were saying like, oh, he has to, run it because that line always is broken. It's always broken.
Nah, you know me. I'm double
Yeah,
checking.
for sure. But I mean, like,
Yeah, now they
th-
try to draft one, two, three, four.
mhm.
So they try to draft five linemen the last 5 years, but it doesn't seem like they're getting opportunities to get
they're
top notch
they're
linemen.
not
Like
top picks,
2020, they're not top picks. 2022 was the only one they got a roll and it was Kyle Hamilton.
and that was like what, like a second rounder probably.
Oh no, I'm tripping. Kyle Hamilton's actually defense. No, you're right. I'll give it to you. They do spend a lot of their picks on
Defense.
the
That's
thicks.
what they always.
Yeah. So since they drafted
It's because
Lamar, they
Ozzie knew
draft
some
Hayden Hurst, the tight
tight
end,
end. Yeah,
first round picks.
yeah, yeah.
Next year, Marquise Brown, Hollywood, obviously.
Yep.
Year after that, they had one first round pick. They
J.K.
picked a
Dobbin. Oh,
linebacker.
okay, linebacker. Yeah.
Second round was
Okay,
J.K.
second round
Dobbins.
was J.K. Yeah.
Yeah. The year after that, another wide receiver, Bateman.
Rashad Bateman,
Um,
who
and
didn't
then a
really pan out.
defensive end. Yeah. And then last year they pick an offensive lineman and
Okay.
a defensive.
So that
So they
let
have been mixing it a little bit. So I was to say I've seen them try to build the talent, but you're right, they're picking horribly.
But that's the thing though,
Picking
like
horribly.
they're picking all these players hoping that they're gonna pan out, but they're not bringing anybody in. Like Sammy Watkins
Yeah.
was the biggest name that they've had on offense, and Mark Ingram, you could say, but like I said, he was a backup running back really. But I mean, they needed to spend some more money, I believe. And I don't know. I think it's the Ravens' fault why all this is going down, man. They should have gave him his money. They should have gave him his money. Like, I agree with you. I will agree with you here. I will confess that I don't think that they should have gave him Deshaun Watson money. Okay, I agree with you there. But why not? Like, yo, the NFL has never been fully guaranteed, but why not? Why aren't quarterbacks fully guaranteed? I mean, they're the number one guy in the field. They're literally the most popular position. And you know what? You can't tell me that Lamar Jackson doesn't sell tickets. And you know what owners love? They love money. And you can't tell me that if
He
you know,
doesn't.
oh, come on now. If the Carolina Panthers
Look at
had
me. Look at
Lamar
me.
Jackson right now,
You know why he
Carolina
doesn't sell
Panthers,
tickets?
you
Do you
tell
know
me
why he
that,
doesn't sell tickets?
what is it? Say it again.
You know why he doesn't sell tickets?
Because he's not on the field.
Exactly.
Yeah, but nah, just his likeness. They could sell his jerseys. They could sell tickets. Just the hype around him being there in the beginning of the season. If he was on the Carolina Panthers right now or the Atlanta Falcons, we can name whatever team you would watch 100% one of the first games. You would 100% watch.
Yeah, but how much closer would they be getting to winning a Super Bowl with only adding Lamar Jackson and giving up the farmhouse to get it?
So that's the
Honestly,
question
the
though.
Jets
But
is the only team I see really realistically needing
so the
him to put him over that bump.
the question is, how hard is it to find a quarterback in the NFL, a franchise quarterback? And to me, it's very hard.
Very hard. There's only five
And
of them, maybe.
and I'll be honest, like Lamar Jackson is on the cusp of being a franchise quarterback. I don't think he's like I think
Yeah,
he's
for me, I
just
need
a
him to get
franchise.
passing. Yeah, the
I
running
think
is amazing. Decision making, like I just need a little bit better passing, and then I wouldn't be mad at everything.
so. Let's pretty much bring this back into a bow right here and pretty much finish it off. The last question. I mean, um, we want to pretty much ask, whose side are you on? Are you on Lamar's side? Do you agree with what he's doing? Do you agree with him not having an agent, him going his own way, trying to do what he can to get his fully guaranteed? Or are you with the Ravens, letting Lamar do his thing, not giving him any guaranteed, not even signing him before he's a free agent, pretty much?
Let's see who you got. Who you got?
Yeah, let me know who you got, Ravens or Lamar. That's what I want to know.
I think it's been clear for me
Yeah, I mean, it
since
pretty much
last
has been.
year.
Been pretty
Since
clear.
last year, when he first turned down that 250 mil, 133 guaranteed, I said that was a big mistake. And now at this point, I do not know the Ravens' full intention, but I think they might be trying to work this out with a possibility that they still keep him just without having to pay him what he wants. And I don't think that they want to get rid of him. I think that they keep on being a playoff contention team with him.
Mm-hmm.
But I do not think that he's worth that money. And I do not think that the Ravens are making a mistake by giving him the non-exclusive tag, allowing other teams to negotiate. I think they're playing a very good hand. What about you?
And
Who you got?
for me, I gotta say, I disagree with you. I gotta clap for Lamar Jackson, man.
Not yet.
Lamar, listen, do your thing. The NFL is a tough sport. The toughest sport, probably. I mean, maybe we could put rugby in there, but the toughest sport in the world. This is the sport where people get injured. You know what the NFL is really named for? It's not National Football League. It's not for long, and people get injured. Go get your money, Lamar. Get that fully guaranteed contract while you can, while you have any type of leverage. Get as much fully guaranteed as you can, because you know that I think that the NFL teams have been talking to each other a little bit prior to them putting out this franchise tag. Because how the hell would 15 minutes after this happened, the Atlanta Falcons went on their website and they said, "Oh, we're not going to look at Lamar Jackson because of we're looking at cap stipulations and we want to be cap
Because
friendly around our
teams been
team."
posting stuff about Lamar and where he's gonna go, and you know how fans are. Fans have been acting like the Falcons are gonna get Henry and Lamar this
And why
offseason.
not? And honestly, why not? Why not? Why shouldn't they with that much that much
Yeah,
cap
they do
space?
got a lot of money.
With that much
Yeah.
cap, why shouldn't they? Honestly, yeah, they might have to trade away their first round pick if they want to do that, because that's a lot of money. But yeah, like if I was a team owner, I get what the team owners are thinking. The team owners are thinking we're not gonna set the precedent. We're not gonna give this man a fully guaranteed, because then after that you got Justin Herbert coming, you got Joe Burrow coming. they're going to want fully guaranteed after that too, and then it's not going to stop. So I get where the owners are coming from. They're not going to have. They already saw one guy do it, and everyone was frowning upon Jimmy Haslam and the Brown organization for doing that, and they didn't want that to happen. And now they don't want it to happen with Lamar. And for me, I think it's kind of sad because, like I said, I think this is the toughest sport to play in. People get injured so quick, and your money gets lost just like that. And I think this is the time for Lamar to try to get his money and try to get it as fast as he can. Get as much guaranteed, baby. That's what I say.
He's just not that guy.
I mean, you know what?
He's not that guy, pal.
One of the youngest MVPs in the league. I think the youngest MVP ever.
Hey, that MVP guy and the guy who's asking for that money, not even the same person.
I mean,
it's hard to say he's not. I don't think his prime is over. I think he has ability to switch up his game a little bit.
Put him on the Jets. We'll see a different story about him.
Man, I don't know if we're ever gonna see that Lamar Jackson.
Put him on Miami. We'll see a different story. Put him in warm.
I honestly would love to see him shake up the AFC East on the Jets. I would absolutely love, because they really are. They actually had a winning record this year. And did they make the playoffs, or they almost made the playoffs?
The Jets almost made the playoffs. They had a winning record though. They were 9-8.
They were right there on the cusp of the playoffs. So honestly, they give them an actual good quarterback.
And that's what they're looking for. The Jets right now, they're looking for a quarterback, but there's another guy right now that they're hinting towards. So we don't really know if it's gonna be Lamar. I mean, obviously the Jets are hinting towards Aaron Rodgers, but
are they gonna pay Aaron that money as well?
So that's the thing with Aaron. He wants the same. He wants the contract that he already has with Green Bay. Basically, he wants to keep his contract without Green Bay cutting him. Because if Green Bay was to keep him up until June 26th, then they would have to pay him $56 million. But if they don't keep him by then and they trade him, then they would only pay, or the other team would pay him $50 million. But another team that would be amazing for Lamar, I'll be honest, I just thought about it like literally right now. I wasn't even thinking about it throughout the episode. Tampa Bay in that warm weather, with those receivers and that decent offensive line. Where you saw Brady, he wasn't really getting sacked this year.
Honestly, yeah. But didn't you say they said no?
All the teams said no. Everybody pretty much said no. There was like 5 teams that said no.
I would say Tampa Bay really honestly wouldn't be bad if Tom Brady's really serious.
True.
That boy better not come back, for the love of God. Just give it up. But yeah, no, honestly, Mike Evans is number 1. Couple good slots, great defense. And granted, I don't know if Leonard Fournette still got that juice.
They cut him.
Okay. Yeah, I was about to say that boy was getting a little slow.
But they got the young boys out there, that.
I was about to say, I think what was his name? He got injured. But yeah, if they make a decent hold at running back position, trying to think who they got at running back. Yeah, that's a decent team.
Yeah, it really wouldn't be bad. I mean, there's, like you said, their defense is still great. I mean, they still have a good offensive line. They still have those 2 good receivers still. I think that would be a really good option for him, I'll be honest.
Yeah,
Rashad White, I think you're talking about. Right?
Yep, that's what it was. Yep, Rashad White getting injured.
They even had Keyshawn Vaughn, who was a decent rookie at this level, so he's going to be a second running back.
No,
so they got a decent squad.
They had decent running backs. Yeah.
So just to finish this off, to put a bow on it, you're going with the Ravens in this situation.
Oh yeah.
And I'm going with Lamar.
And you're going with Lamar.
Wow, you know what? I really didn't expect this at all. I really thought you were going to go with Lamar in the beginning of the episode. I thought you were going to go with me, but that's crazy how it goes.
Man, they I said, it's just not him.
I get your points.
It's not the issue of the fully guaranteed. It's who asking for it. That's just it for me.
I get your points. I get it. You're saying he's not Patrick Mahomes, but I'm saying he doesn't have to be to get that money.
I'm saying he should be.
He should, but not when you got Daniel Jones getting
I know,
$40 million a year. So,
well, that's the NBA too, boy. Rudy Gobert getting traded for 5 picks. What? Yeah. Come on.
KD got 6, and all those players and all those picks as well with the second rounders.
Yeah.
That's what happens. So I'll be honest, I think it might be a sign and trade for Lamar in the future. That's my last prediction.
Yeah,
Might be a sign and
yeah, you
trade.
might be right,
Sign and
man.
trade.
Now that we really talked about it, there might be no going back.
Yeah.
There just might be no going back. So you
We'll
might be
see
right.
though. We'll see. Either way though, I definitely think you might be. You're right about that guarantee. They're not giving him that, and no team is gonna. I think you're definitely right about that. But let us know what you guys think about this whole situation. Lamar Jackson versus the Ravens versus the Baltimore Ravens. I mean, a lot of stuff to unpack here, and I'm glad we did. And let us know what you guys think down below. Please comment and make sure you guys subscribe to that video. And if you guys are listening, make sure you download the podcast wherever you get it and subscribe to the channel. We love every single one of you guys, so thank you guys for following along with us. If you guys want to check us out on our Patreon page, that's where you guys can type in your questions or put in like a topic that we can put on the podcast if you just want to give us some general support. Or there's the higher tiers where you guys can get some other extra stuff and exclusive stuff, like we do some extra podcasts in there and add some extra videos in the Patreon for you guys. So definitely check us out there. And we got the new website as well. Melo, tell them about the website.
Oh yes, www.whoyougotpodcast.com. We got blogs, we got episodes, we got videos, and soon we'll be having a Patreon all set up there too, so you can get a little bit better of idea of the support we offer. So we definitely just want to make sure you guys have everything available, just at your fingertips in one crucial. One central place, and obviously we got normal merch as well, just to make sure if you want to rock some Who You Got gear,
Oh
you
yeah.
can go ahead and show that support.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And it's real dope. You guys definitely got to check out the merch. Definitely real dope.
Oh yes, just in time for the spring and summer.
Exactly.
Once fall come around, we're gonna switch up that lineup.
Of course, definitely, definitely going. We're gonna give you guys a new collections every season, baby. This is like a fashion empire we're building to,
That's a
along with the
fact.
sports empire. So thank you guys again for watching this episode, and we'll check you guys on next episode of Who You Got with
Mellow.
and Rado. Peace, y'all.
Peace.